Morning, everybody. Welcome to Peace and Church in Lauderdale. And I'm Pastor Dave Greenland, and we are looking at Pentecost, the third week. And as we get started here, just a couple announcements. I think we're up and running. All of our audio and visual is working. No echoes from over there. Eventually we'll get it. Oh, good. We'll come back. It's good to be with you. Have you noticed my new banners out front, everybody? Yes. Yeah? Oh my gosh. People are going to leave now to go look at the banners. They're made out of steel, and one of the neighbors collects tools. I mean, he collects a lot of tools, like 500 hammers and 1,000 screwdrivers, and it just goes on and on and on. Big, long saws. So he asked me if I wanted it, so he could move in his garage. He can't move anymore. And I learned a long time ago that if somebody asked me if I'd like something, whether I do or not, if they're really trying to get rid of something, I try to help them out and say, I can use all these things with me. And it either goes to habitat we use, or maybe it's made into a banner that won't shred in the wind anymore. So, although it was kind of a bad plan in some ways, it's got a saw that's a long tree saw, and it's hanging up there, and in the wind it goes back and forth, kind of in a sawing motion, and the pole is made out of wood. So it's going to. But we're trying to make it behave itself. But it's good to be with you. I think we're going to get going here. Does everybody out there can hear me okay? Just shake your head or give a thumbs up. Okay, that's a small miracle. That's great. I know that I've had trouble with Zoom in the last couple of weeks, all over the place. I think the new normal is kind of getting us all. Although we haven't really, we haven't upgraded any of the Zoom stuff, so maybe that's part of it. I'm getting head shaking, no, that's not it. All right, everybody has a bulletin, and we can get started. Just with a moment of silence, and then we go with a prayer, and then we'll start with our opening hymn, which I put in your email. Okay, let us pray. Creator God, it is you who have made us, and not we ourselves. We are dust without your breath of life. We are creatures, not creator. Yet you entrust the care of creation to us. Help us to be aware of the breath of your Spirit within us, that we might be faithful in the tasks you set before us. Through Jesus Christ, who always goes before us. Our opening hymn is Let Us Talents, 674 in your hymn notes or in your email here. 674.
Vicki, you've got to unmute. And I can't ask you all of a sudden, so you'll have to unmute yourself.
Jesus lives again. Jesus lives again. Jesus sends us out to bear fruit. With the small bread to share, darling man. Jesus lives again, earth can breathe. Jesus lives again, earth can breathe. The rumbles of dawn.
It's here. Our first lesson comes from Galatians 5. Right, and we are we'll be looking at these gifts, of which the banners outside, the steel banners, the tools that are welded together and bolted together, will be the theme from Galatians here. So, for freedom, Christ has set us free. Stand firm, therefore, and do not submit again to the yoke of slavery. For you were called to freedom. Brothers and sisters, only do not use your freedom as an opportunity for self-indulgence, but through love become slaves to one another. For the whole law is summed up in a single commandment: you shall love your neighbor as yourself. If, however, you bite and devour one another, take care that you are not consumed by one another. Live by the Spirit, I say, and do not gratify the desires of the flesh. For what the flesh desires is opposed to the Spirit, and what the Spirit desires is opposed to the flesh. For these are opposed to each other, prevent you from doing what you want. But if you are led by the Spirit, you are not subject to the law. Now the works of the flesh are obvious. Here they come. You can take a litmus test to see how many of these you can check off. Now the works of the flesh are obvious: fornication, impurity, licentiousness, idolatry, sorcery, enmity, strife, jealousy, anger, quarrels, dissensions, factions, envy, drunkenness, carousing, and things like these. I'm warning you, as I warned you before, those who do such things will not inherit the kingdom of God. By contrast, the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, generosity, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. There's no law against such things. Those who belong to Christ Jesus have crucified the flesh with its passions and desires. If we live by the Spirit, let us also be guided by the Spirit. That seems to be a pretty clear reading. Now we'll do the gospel. The Holy Gospel according to Luke, the 9th chapter.
Glory to you, O Lord.
When the days drew near for Jesus to be taken up, he set his face to go to Jerusalem. And he sent messengers ahead of him. On their way, they entered a village of the Samaritans to make ready for him. But they did not receive him, because his face was set toward Jerusalem. When his disciples, James and John, saw it, they said, Lord, do you want us to command fire to come down from heaven and consume them? But he turned and rebuked them. As they were going along the road, someone said to him, I will follow you wherever you go. And Jesus said to him, foxes have holes and birds of the air have nests, but the Son of Man has nowhere to lay his head. To another he said, follow me. But he said, Lord, first let me go and bury my father. But Jesus said to him, let the dead bury their own dead. But as for you, go and proclaim the kingdom of God. Another said, I will follow you, Lord. But let me first say farewell to those at home. Jesus said to him, no one who puts a hand to the plow and looks back is fit for the kingdom of God. the gospel of the Lord.
Praise you, Christ.
Okay. Peace to you and peace from our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Amen. Boy, it seems pretty difficult, doesn't it? If you do any of the things on the list, you're not fit for the kingdom of God. How about the first three? The first three. In one way or another, we're all on the list someplace. And as good Lutherans, we can show up to this text and we can stand as good Lutherans. And when the question is asked of us by St. Peter, by the way, who was pretty weak, they called him the rock, and I think it's because he sank to the bottom of the water all the time, failing miserably over and over again. I'll never leave you, Lord. And then he denies it, even knows it, 3 times before the alarm goes off for first breakfast. And but what does it mean? Does it mean St. Peter's not fit for heaven? Yeah, he's not fit for heaven. He's really not. And I suppose we good on the list. Nelson Mandela and all the greatest people like Dan Ackerman coming in late. All of the greatest and the best, are not fit for heaven. And as good Lutherans, that's the answer. Are you fit? No, I'm not. I'm not worthy. No matter who you are, what you do, you could never earn it. You're not fit. So I think when we look at this text, we really get a twisted view of it. We're pretty defeated, don't you? Like, well, who's capable then of ever achieving? And that's another thing. For the reward of heaven, who's capable of making it to the prize? Disciples are constantly doing that, coming to him. Since you don't want us to rain down fire on the Samaritans that just stick this out, as if they could, right? Try again. They try harder. They couldn't heal the regular dandruff, let alone rain down fire on everybody. And but they would come to him later and say, "Could you make us first left hand and right hand?" Their mother comes to him. "Can my boys be your left hand and right hand when you come into your kingdom?" You don't know what you're asking. Oh yeah, I do. Talking about is vastly different, and you can see it all around you. Right there in the midst of this mess. It's right there. It's not someplace else. That's why I like this Galatians text, which also, okay, gonna slip way out on the limb. I fell off the limb. I'm on the ground. Help me, I pick it up. I think Jesus somehow was in the East for a long time before he came and started a ministry. He had to have been. This text here, is and a lot of the things he's about talks about an inner centering. It's an inner meditation. It's a way of separating himself from his ego. What I really, really want, people, is I want to give that. This is me talking. This is David James Greenland talking right now. What I would like the most right now garbage wheat, white wheat. So when you bite into it, it just kind of melts in your mouth and it's gooey and it's just heavenly. And apple fritter, after that one's an apple fritter made of pure wheat, even though I know it hurts me. It would cripple me up for days. I would want that, and I want it now, this morning, as soon as I'm done with the sermon. And if I had it over there, I would want to say, "Amen, we're done. Let's break for coffee hour." And I would run there as fast as I could, and preferably if they could be warm. There's nothing wrong with that. My favorite things, apple fritters, fresh apple fritters, gooey. Like, did they finish making this? I hope not. And the biggest fan of beautiful black peach dark roast coffee right over there, and nobody bothering me as I drink it and eat my apple fritter. Anything wrong with that? No, there's nothing wrong with that. But that's not really me. That's not the me behind that human structure or that ego. It's not even a human structure. If I could get in touch with my humanness, my physical animalness, I would know what's really good for me is probably to drink a little bit more water. Like I keep harping on my mother there, iPhone. I know it's you. Drink more water. I know it would be good for me. Coffee and an apple fritter? Heck no, especially since I can't do it with wheat problems. If I could get in touch with my animal creatureliness of humanness, that would be better than my desires, which that's come from a lot of the understandings of these. And we've got it in Christianity too, but we've lost it. We start to take these texts as, beware of all of the temptations of the flesh, which is really about just your desires. Is there anything wrong with desiring an apple fritter? No. And if you're a great baker of non-wheat things, know that I would love a non-wheat apple fritter. That is the same. Nothing wrong with that. Is it going to change my life? Is it going to set me on the path? No. It's just a desire. I desire winning the lottery too. It's no different. I won the lottery. Has anybody here ever won the lottery? Anybody ever won more than $100? Really? I once won $336.60 on nickel slots. And I got the fever. Oh my gosh. And I ran out of there as fast as I could before the devil could get me. Did it change my life? No. I've got a story. So what's this business Jesus is doing with people? It starts with Jesus has set his face on Jerusalem. He knows that Herod's out to kill him. Everybody's told him. Herod wants to get him. And all of the cronies of Herod, the king, that the lethal, murderous king, wants you, he's already got your friend's head on a plate. He wants you next. So he says, well, let's take the fight to him. Let's go there. The disciples, especially Thomas, says, no, Lord, let's just retreat like we have before. Let things cool down. We'll forget about you. We'll get on to the next Messiah wannabe, and they'll crucify him. And we'll just get on with it. You can keep raising people from the dead and just healing all of the seborrhea and bursitis and bad knees and coming late, getting another puppy. Go straight to it. He knows that this is where he's got to go. He's got to go straight there for the sake of all the people that want to get him. He needs to bring this up to them too. So he sets his face on Jerusalem. And then he starts saying, as people are coming to him, in another text, it'll say that thousands of people had come out to see him on his way to Jerusalem. He said to them, if you can't pick up your cross and follow me and be willing to die, don't come. If you don't love me more than your husband or wife, or sister or brother, or mother, father, or grandparents, if you don't love me more than them, don't come. By the time he was done, he covered all bases. If you don't love me more than oil painting, man, don't come. Oh, I really like oil painting. All these people in the crowd start walking away. I guess he doesn't need our help. I guess he really doesn't need us. Why is he doing that? In other places, he's saying, follow me, follow me, follow me. In other places, he's saying, don't follow me. Go back and tell your village the good that's happened. Like last week's text with 7 demons in the Gentiles. Poor pig farmer without the gift. Why is he saying that? I think it's because he's trying to remind himself. You know, unless you can start the plow and not look back, you're not fit. What has Jesus done for most of his ministry? Started working with somebody and somebody interrupts him and he says, what? Back at Jesus' role, it is anything but straight. He's all over the place. And sometimes it seems to just go off and just idle someplace. He's not even in the seat. He's being interrupted all the time. Tend to. And somebody's in a tree, tax collector. Just let him be. There's lots of people in the trees. You just keep walking. We got places to go. I'm coming to your house today. The sinner that everybody hates. But I come to your house today. It's the interruptions of life that bring the kingdom. Isn't it? Isn't some of the most bizarre things that have changed your life for the better been total diversions? Like, how did you get here in Lauderdale? I have no idea. I have no idea. How did I get here this morning? I have no idea. Something that is so bizarre, but end up turning your life with your face up to the kingdom. And it goes like that until you get distracted. And it's the distractions that gently pick you up and I was going to say, put you back on the path. You know, it picks you up, gives you a little hug, sometimes a little slap on the head, and then you keep walking on the distracted path. Nicholas went to Bozeman. He was our promised child. Was our promised child. He was going to go into engineering at Bozeman, Montana State University. Finished with all of his math, all college done. Before he graduated, before he was even a senior. He loves math. He can't get enough of it. He's spending so much time tutoring juniors and seniors. He's taken one engineering class or math. He has nothing to do with it anymore. He says it's kind of fun. Engineering students that never make it through the whole program because they can't get it down. He's doing it like it's candies. What's he doing? Oh my gosh. He thought he was going to help pay for Emily. Religion. Philosophy. Eastern philosophy, meditation, Buddhism, Christianity. Unless you can keep focused and not turn around, you're not fit for the kingdom of God. Nicholas, are you fit for the kingdom of God? Right answer, son. No, I'm not. I'm not. I'm not fit, but I'm on the path. I'm listening to the call, I'm on the path. And I sincerely believe this, people. I think Jesus was trying to discourage as many people as he could from following him. He knew it was going to be a bloodbath. Which ones that were doing killing as well as the ones that were being killed. Now, that takes a lot of spirit somehow. And I'm trying to get it. It's like I'd like to break every radio in my life right now. I'd like to break every internet connection. After we're done here, of course. Well, how? Know what I'm talking about, and all the rest. And it just keeps getting worse. So where does that leave us? I feel so despairing sometimes. So despairing. And then I think, if you were a follower of this Christ, this invitation from God to step into the crooked, bizarre, undeserving path called the kingdom, in the first century, that countless people that have been slaughtered and will continue to be. They know what despair is. They know what it is. And as a Christian, as a person of faith, it's not just select just for Christianity. As a person of faith in God, we have a job to do. And it's these guys right here. And if we can do this, I think we can get reset. Right? We may not get an apple fritter, not magically flip the Supreme Court or get rid of people that aren't qualified. We may not get that, but we'll be on the road if we could in some way practice love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, generosity, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control, all things that are gifts of the Spirit. If you do all those things, which I have to say is really difficult to do. Difficult to do sometimes. And then all I have to do is remember when Nicholas was any kind of personality. And then I get hope. And hope comes. But I need to practice these things. It's not wrong to want an apple fritter. And of course, I'm talking about more than apple fritter. But somehow, no matter what our political or social, environmental situation is, we have the same marching orders. We have the same thing. It doesn't change. We can and the key to the kingdom. We know how to unlock it. We can do these things. Or we try, and if we fail, which we will, some of you more than others. I'm the worst. With each other. That's why we come together as communities, which is nowadays. Even if COVID wasn't here, these communities are just eroded. Partly because we haven't needed each other. We really haven't needed each other in the West. Place where it's really coming to life is where people really need one another. Yeah, it's I have a story to end on. I love this story, and it's the first half of the story. The second half I won't give you. The first, and it's all we need. There was a king one day. Let's call him Herod. We call him a lot of things right now. I can insert the name of your choice. Herod the king, horrible, rotten, nasty. I mean, does all the things you can imagine being rotten. Treats the people deplorably. People that are hungry get hungrier as they're dying. They have no way to support themselves. It just goes on and on. One day the brother dies. He just dies. The king dies. and his brother is the runner-up for king. Now, this brother is the most generous, loving, kind, hopeful, loving. I mean, he does all of these things, and when he doesn't, he apologizes. You know, character, right? We're talking about Jimmy Carter, who's lusted in his heart. Take over his king. And he said, as my first act, what I want to do is open the storehouses and feed the people. Number one. Number two, I want to visit average people. I want to eat dinner with average, regular, everyday people. So I can't do that with everybody, so we're going to draw some names out of the hat. And he draws the name Myrtle out of the hat. Now, Myrtle is she's a widow. Everybody's died in their life, and she's a wonderful, regular human being with a bush cut, you know, cart, go to the laundromat, and all of that. And they announced to her that the king is coming to dinner. Look at your schedule and pick a date. So she looks at her schedule, which, by the way, is open. It's completely open, which she's really happy about, because she starts talking to the townfolk in the region that she lives. And the townfolk are like, oh my gosh, the king's coming to your house. We know your house. The king cannot come to your house. Trust me. Even though he's the younger brother, he may not fit at the table in your little house. Let us build you something that's suitable for a kingdom. You know where this is going. So months turn into years that you keep making excuses while they're building a castle. Granite counters, I mean, nice granite counters. I'll stop there, but it's a really nice house. That's the end of the story for the day. It's like, that's what we really think. We're not worthy. And by the way, you're not. But you're just right. Just right. 500 hammers in your garage. You're just right. Until you find somebody that puts in front of you and helps you out of it. You're just right. Not done. Oh, yeah, another pass. Our friend from Puerto Rico here is visiting, and here she is. She's right behind you. There she is. It's good to have you always in Puerto Rico. She was the one that Judy went to visit and raise funds to send Judy packing with a bunch of cash to give away. Because we didn't know how else to help people that have been hit by a hurricane. And so all of this is for you. Your name is Carla. That was Claudia. Carla. It's not Claudia.
There's only one
Yeah,
Claudia.
there's only one Claudia.
Thank God.
Claudia said there's only one Claudia, thank goodness. But I often don't have a benediction. I don't have an end to my sermons. They're just like, they're chopped off, like right at the front. And I just say, I'm wrong. I don't know how to end anymore. I barely know how to begin. Like, we're at an offering time, and what I'd like to do is we want to talk a little bit about a meeting that we had a meeting about sabbatical time that I'll be taking. But I want to talk about that at the very end of everything when we're done, and then we can pass out the piece of paper and people work. Yeah. So why don't we offer this up? Are there any offerings out there that you want to share? We can't get the acronyms dog, There's nobody there to show. We should get a puppy cam on that dog.
There we go.
We need a puppy cam.
And photos.
Anybody else have something to offer? Anything? Okay, Wendy, you have to unmute yourself. And we'll have to listen very close.
Okay, this was posted by Obama on June 20th, the first National Refugee Day. It's by Maya Angelou. I've had so many rainbows in my clouds. I've had a lot of clouds, but I have had so many rainbows. And the thing to do, it seems to me, is to prepare yourself so that you can be a rainbow in somebody else's cloud. Somebody who may not look like you, may not call God the same name you call God, and may not eat the same dishes prepared the way you do. They may not dance your dances or speak your language, but be a blessing to somebody. This is what I think.
Thank you, Wendy. Here you go. And I'm gonna sit right in front of you so that it'll follow you, the camera. There you go.
I'm getting it there, just wait a second.
Not always.
Not when he moves too fast.
You can look at that camera right there.
For those of you who don't know, my name is Carla Sherwood. And Claudia, I just wanted to respond. I am the person that this body of believers sent a huge amount of financial support to the people of Puerto Rico. And when you were talking about rainbows and clouds, this group has blessed so many people that needed it. And you were like a rainbow in a cloud of disaster. And I just wanted to just publicly say thank you so much. Your efforts just really, truly made a difference. So thank you. And I really like what you said, Connie.
When,
Oh, Wendy, I'm sorry.
just throw that name around.
Thank you so much.
That's great. Yeah, I could do that. No, she said it first. There's only one Claudia. We only need one Claudia.
You only want one card.
Oh, okay. Here we go. I'll do the same.
So last night I had the great opportunity to tell stories at a campfire. And I always end, especially on the environmental stories, I try to end with this little story. I want to share it today. And it goes right with what Wendy just said. So all of it was kind of just sauntering through the savannah. And luckily, he wasn't going very fast because he was about to put his large leg down when he realized that there on the ground was a hummingbird. The hummingbird was upside down on her back with her legs straight up in the air. And Elvin said, hummingbird, what are you doing? Why are you down there? Well, Elvin, I just heard that the sky is gonna fall. Hummingbird, you are so small. You really think that you could keep the sky from falling? Well, really small, but I do the bunch. So Giraffe was sauntering through the savannah and came upon a very, very slow state. And right next to her was Hummingbird with her feet straight up. And
I did not see that coming. That makes it a brilliant story. And that's how we make people. We look at a story. People swim in stories like fish swim in water. So what we need to do is fill ourselves with the good stories, the human stories. Okay? Thank you for the good human stories. Yeah. I remember that. Thank you. Any other offerings today? Any other offerings? All right. Vicky's gonna there so that you can.
Mute, Vicky.
Oh, if you have offering, you can put it in a place where they are. Other offering. He comes to the prayers of the people, and there's a certain group there, we have for a while, and you can offer your own prayers. In silence, doing that kind of stuff. Let us pray. Oh, great love, thank you for living and loving in us and through us. May all that we do flow from our deep connection with you and all beings. Help us become a community that vulnerably shares each other's burdens and the way of glory. Listen to our heart's longings now for the healing of our world. Love through the community and nothing and ours. Churches on the food street in Chicago. So much, so much. When you are hearing it, better than you are speaking, we offer these prayers in all the holy names of God.
Amen.
Find Jesus the Christ standing beside you, may he be close enough to touch. We're living and speak peace into your lives. Thank you walk that path. It's so important. Go now in that peace. Our closing room is on page 548. 548.
Unmute, Vicky.
It's good to sit in there, isn't it? I need copies of these guys here. They're just kind of minutes from our meeting the other night. And I'm gonna have you guys pass these around. Pass them to your folks. Closing down the same part of the bulletin. Okay, in Zoom land, I did send an email out to you before church began. If you got it in front of you on the email, if you can figure out how to do that. Otherwise, you'll just you'll be able to hear.
No, we're having trouble hearing.
Are you guys having trouble hearing? Oh, can you hear me?
It comes and goes.
Comes and goes. Okay, so we had a meeting and we talked about in the last few weeks. We've been trying to figure out a time for a sabbatical for me. This is 18 years that I've been here. The first 6, I had a sabbatical from the Lilly Foundation, and what sabbaticals are a brief time away that you can just recharge. You can just shut everything off. You can stop sleeping with your phone, that kind of thing, and just turn off. And most of it's in this church and most bodies of churches. You know, they know that a pastor is just on all the time. You may not have stuff that you need to be doing right now, but it's always on. So after a while, it kind of wears you out. And every 6 years, it's recommended to get a sabbatical. Just sometime where no recommended time. This would be like a week. You know, usually that would be a vacation. It'd be more, 3 months to a year. Well, in the professional world, a year works great, especially in academia. Church, most churches, there's no way to make that happen. So 3 months, generally. Got a Lilly grant the first time around, which is a lifetime award. You only get it once. And they threw money at us. Bundles of cash. They just threw it at the door. They kept throwing at us. And so the church was able to afford to keep going. And Karen and I and kids, when they were really little now, it's 12 years ago, went and took them to Sweden for the first time. And we were able to afford to get there. And all expenses paid, and we stayed with family, and they fed us. And we had to beg them to take some Swedish kroner to just, please take this money. No. So we had to hide gift cards all over their farm, for the local grocery store that they continued to gather for years. And we still had more that we sent back and we got back. So that's not the case here. So it's much more difficult to think about. And I thought, well, I'll go next spring, like most pastors do a spring after Easter, and then we go program. I can't make it that long. So it'll be September, October, November, and as a way to try to make it affordable and to do as much as we can in house. We've come up with a little bit of a plan on how to pull together. Now we're just talking about worship services, and so I've written this down, and we'll get to volunteers, but the church will be responsible for doing readings, a message of some sort, communion prep and cleanup, coffee hour prep and cleanup. We got 12 Sundays in 3 months, 12 Sundays, and one of them is going to be the Thanksgiving cake that we make together. That's a tradition, and so that's one of them, and then we've got all the others, and so we've got some names that have volunteered, and Brent and Wendy, I threw you in there because I know you would. You didn't come to the meeting, and so you are plugged in. I figured one of you, I mean, you both have done so many things in the past to do things. But, so we got Anna Phillips, Barb Nelson, Christina, Pam, and Wendy. And then Ruth left a message for me, and I jumped for joy. I squealed a little bit. And, she's a pastor in the ELCA, and she's actually the lead chaplain over at England now, full time. And she could be one of the people that comes and preaches and presides. Pastor Kim from the Manual Church, and then Glenn Berg-Mober, a dear friend who making all these wire sculptures here. And so all we have left is 2 Sundays, really. One of those is the Thanksgiving Sunday. But we're getting pretty covered. The question would be, and we talked about this with Crystal, brought this up as well. And we used to have service groups here, where a quarter of the church was put together, and there was a lead with that service group, and they would call around the people that were on the group with them, and just remind them, could you bring treats, could you bring coffee, could you set up communion, could you do this or that? And that way, many hands make light work, and more people get involved, and more people read. Of course, Zoom has changed a lot of this stuff. It's hard to do it, but it still is needing to be done. And the more and more that comes back into worship, physically in the building, the more it will start getting back to normal, whatever normal is. And so that was the gist of it. If I've forgotten anything, and the question is, if there's anything, if the people that are volunteered don't necessarily have an idea of what they would do. Would they traditionally preach a sermon? Would they tell a story? Would they read a text and say, boy, let me tell you about the time I was swallowed by a whale? No kidding. And that would be a good story talk right there. But the sky's the limit. If there's anything that you could see yourself desiring to hear or see or be a part of, it would be good to let us know. And I presume choir will be probably starting that again in the fall if COVID behaves itself. And I know a lot of people have asked about that. And other people that have instruments as well. Is there anybody on Zoom that has anything that add? When we're talking about worship, this is a way for everybody to know kind of what's going on and what is the plan. The committee, I asked if anybody wanted to be on the committee, and we had to turn in who doesn't want to be on the committee. So Joe Steiner does not want to be on the committee, and we weren't gonna let him anyway. So, that group, so Joe's out. And everybody else is on the committee, to see how that could be really, possible. So you're not on the committee, no. But if anybody would like to serve on that committee, to come together to do some of that planning, you're welcome to join that. And, that's what happened. Would you add anything, Christina?
No, just please. I think we can have a great time. So join us.
Yeah, I mean, the sky's the limit. What a creative place, you know. I could, yeah. Yeah, you better come up here. I could see Dan doing a sermon. I could see Dan offering painting meditation as she's painting.
Oh, I was just going to say something that, we kind of have these two people listed as leaders, but if you know that there's something that you'd be interested in helping with or an idea, like if you want to tell one of those people, if there's someone on that list that you feel especially connected to, you don't have to read it, either offer to do a reading or another idea of having people with like musical talents if you'd be interested in playing an instrument in the service or singing. And then I think for the one that I'm gonna lead, Elsie's gonna help me with that and try to get some other like volunteers or kind of ready to it. So lots of ways to be involved, and we don't have to be the leader to be involved. You don't have to stand up here and do it. Lots of ways to get involved.
That's great. Anybody else? Anybody else? You're kind of thinking about it as a kind of a reboot for peace as well. It's such a that. I mean, I think it's really true. Everybody's really tired. We're worn out, and we can't put our finger on it. And it's called lack of socialization. The way we've had it. We're social creatures, and COVID has been a couple of years long, and so that's part of it. So education. Wednesday nights, such an important part of the community, coming together for dinner on Wednesday nights informally. That would be something that could be brought back together, or in some other fashion. Work studies, discussion groups, all kinds of different steps could be possible. That as well. So again, if you have any suggestions or something that you'd like to see or be a part of, please don't hesitate. And it doesn't mean you have to stand up in front of this camera, which may or may not be working that day. Just be here together as family, there to each other. Anybody else? Anybody else? I think that's all I've got. Out there, announcements. So Nicholas is in town just for 1 more week, and I joke about my kids all the time. In self or child, my children deprecating ways. We're proud of them. But get this, I've got a 6 foot. He says he's 6'4", but he was standing next to a 6'5" guy the other day. He was a little bit taller. He says he's 6'4", and he says he's got size 13 feet, but he can barely fit into my shoes, which are 14. So he's just growing heavy bear of a loving character, and he asked me to go canoeing with him. We're going to do that this week. And I said, should I get a hold of a couple of your friends, or no, just you, Dad, only you? What are we going to talk about? That's what I want to do. Oh, and he said, and meditate, and a couple of, oh my gosh, I got myself. So we're going to meet today. We'll come back on Thursday. Tech study, I'm assuming that we could just take a week off. meditate for about 2 days. And I'll be back. Thank you to the garden people. Things growing like crazy. So far, weasels and all the foxes haven't gotten in there. We do have foxes around here, so that's simple. And raccoons. Any announcements before we end here? Any announcements? Brent, I'm remembering your jackhammer. I'll set that in the entryway for you, is where that will be. The jackhammer will be in the entryway for Brent. He's looking at me like I'm nuts. Can you hear me, Brent? Okay. You asked for a jackhammer, yeah? Yeah, you did. All right. It'll be in the entryway of the church, and you know how to get in here, right? No? Okay, it's gonna be in my driveway, underneath the overhang in the back. Anybody else need a jackhammer? You can come all over. Thank you so much, everybody. And do we have any announcements about the masks?
Paul sent a letter.
Okay, so everybody got a letter about the masking, optional. You're welcome to continue to do that. We had an overwhelming response of making it optional, continue the mask as we feel comfortable.
Christmas and August dates.
Christmas in August, 5th and 6th of August, Friday and Saturday. And we'll be putting brochures out on each door in the coming week. Starting this next weekend. Okay. All right. Thanks, everybody. And that's it. Christina's got her hand up.
Do you need people to help distribute those flyers?
Yes, we'll need help distributing flyers. If you'd like to do that, you can stop by here. Actually, I'll pass them out on Sunday. This next Sunday, okay. I'll pass them out and then people can get them around. 4 or 5 people can do it pretty quickly. But all right. Any other announcements? Any others? All right. Thanks, everybody. Go in peace and serve the Lord.